commissioned by former Mayor Colin Kilpatrick in an effort to regrow the area of just east of downtown Detroit in order to help regrow the area and make it look a little bit more presentable to everyone. It is also a part of the Detroit River Walk, which spans all the way from the MacArthur Bridge to the Ambassador Bridge and is described in two sections, east and west. The East River Walk extends all the way from Hart Plaza to the MacArthur Bridge, while the West River Walk is currently on hold but is planned to eventually connect all the way over to the River Rouge. You'll see a tall building with blue glass windows and a large blue cube on top. That there is the Greektown Casino. So basically, the story behind this building is that Mike Ilitch wanted to own a gambling casino, but as he was already owner of the Detroit Red Wings and the Detroit Tigers, he wasn't allowed to own a gambling casino, as there's only so much you're legally allowed to own without being a corporation. Because of this, instead, he made the owner of the casino his wife, Mariah Ilitch. I guess if you can't do it yourself, might as well get your wife to. That over there is Rivard Plaza, also known as Cullen Plaza. It is a plaza that contains a small cafe known as the Riverwalk Cafe, as well as that there beautiful carousel you see before you. It is also the docking site of the Diamond Queen, sister to the aforementioned Diamond Bell we went by earlier. And now we are approaching the big one, the Renaissance Center, conceived by Henry Ford II and financed primarily by the Ford Motor Company. Construction started on the Renaissance Center in 1973 and was completed in 1977, with 5 towers followed later by 2 smaller towers. Construction of the building was commissioned by former Mayor Coleman Young, and in its first year, it generated over $1 billion in economic growth for downtown Detroit. The building is currently owned by General Motors, who bought the building for approximately $300 million in 1996. This was a good old steal of a price for GM, because now a building of this magnitude would have cost them $4 billion. The Central Tower holds the Marriott Hotel, which is the tallest skyscraper hotel in the Western Hemisphere and stands at over 80 stories tall. The top floors of the hotel once contained a restaurant that at one time rotated but does no longer. The newly constructed 5-story Winter Garden was added to the Renaissance Center after GM bought the complex. The Winter Garden provides access to the Detroit riverfront and contains many shops, restaurants, and a classic car collection. You'll see many different kinds of people riding many different types of vehicles right in front of the Renaissance Center Winter Garden, such as bikes, skateboards, and electric scooters. The electric scooters and bikes can be rented from various stations, and you can see some of the bike stations right over there. Let me tell you folks, you don't really truly understand the magnitude of the Renaissance Center until you're looking right up at it, staring at it out in awe at its amazing beauty. Of course, we all know how big the building is, as we can see it anywhere from Windsor, where you can see the skyline. bikes. I see some two-seaters here and there, along with some carriers in the back of some bikes. Must be some sort of bike festival, or maybe just a biking group. Right now, we are approaching downtown Detroit, where you'll be able to get a great view of all the buildings that Detroit has to offer. Right in front of that is Hart Plaza, which is around 4 acres long and can hold holds many different events throughout the year, including the Detroit Electronic Music Festival held every Memorial Day weekend. The sculpture looking over towards Windsor commemorates the Underground Railroad, and a corresponding sculpture in Windsor looks back towards Detroit. And now we're approaching the Detroit Princess, which we saw as we were talked over by Windsor. The Detroit Princess will offer many different types of cruises, such as sightseeing cruises, party cruises, wedding cruises, among many more. The boat was named after its royal, almost luxurious design. As the name suggests, the Detroit Princess only serves Detroit. Just past that is Cobo Center and Cobo Hall, both of which being built in 1960. It is the former home of the Detroit Pistons, as well as the North American International Auto Show. Now, don't be confused. The auto show is still held there every single year, but they actually threatened to leave for a good while unless Detroit could increase the square footage to accommodate the increased displays. Because of this, a multi-million-dollar renovation was completed in order to ensure the longevity of the auto festival, which attracts over 800,000 guests to Detroit every single year. Beginning in 2020, the auto show is planned to take place in June rather than in January to provide a month-long automotive festival, beginning with the Detroit Grand Prix over on Belle Isle, following over to the auto festival as we know it over in Cobo Hall, then concluding with the nationally celebrated 4 fireworks right along the riverfront. Such an iconic building. These luxurious condominiums are a good example of what happens when there is a mass exodus of a city's tax base. After Detroit's core population dropped from 2 million residents to the current number of about 700,000. The value of these condos dropped significantly. They used to go for a good $100,000 each, but now they're a much lower price now that there's less residents to buy up the apartments. The apartments also used to have a dock right on the water for the residents' private boats, but it was condemned as unsafe and was since taken out, although it looks like they're in the process of rebuilding it to one that'll hopefully last longer. Some notable residents on this here condominium included the mayor, David, who now resides in the Peruvian mansion, because, of course, he is mayor, along with Aretha Franklin also owning one of these penthouses as well. Over here we have the United States Post Office of Detroit, being the second busiest post office in the entire United States, second only to Long Beach, California. Approximately 14% of all mail comes through this facility every single year. Looks like right in front of the post office, they're having a music festival right in Detroit. There are many different events often held in this field right here, such as the one you're seeing right now. I myself am just going to be quiet and see if I can hear any of the music.